Still talking about spring 2024 anime. These are my mid-season thoughts. Let's talk about today's anime. And today's is Bartender, God of Glass. And this was another surprising remake, actually. So if you don't know, this is another early 2000s anime. It had 11 or 12 episodes. And I loved it, actually, because outside of like anime and my other interests, one of the things I really enjoy is going to bars and trying cocktails. So this really tapped into like a very niche interest of mine. I actually do have a video on the original Bartender, but for some reason TikTok hates me. I now can't link videos, so if you want to scroll my page, you're very welcome to. Anyway, let's talk about this, because what I did with this is the same thing I did with Spice and Wolf, in that I watched the remake and the original back to back to try and get a comparison. And then aside from the obvious complete redo of the animation in this one is far better than the one from the early 2000s, obviously, because the one from the early 2000s, all the drinks and stuff had like that weird, shiny, like oversaturated CGI in it. This is much cleaner, much crisper, looks more natural, fits the background and everything else. The art also did have a sympathetic upgrade, but I still think it captures like the charm of the original. Now, the one thing I do want to point out about this is they really changed the story up greatly. They kept a lot of the key elements. The main character is still the same. A few of the supporting characters are still the same, but then they add in some new characters and the story is much more cohesive. Because the original Bartender was kind of 11 episodes vaguely tied together, but more like their own unique stories. And then at the end of it, the last episode kind of tied everything together. More so like, talking about how the bartender interacts with their customers and that kind of stuff. Like, it was an overall like positive message. Whereas for the remake, they've given it a full-on storyline, and they've kept some of the original characters from like the first one, and then they've changed their roles slightly, which I thought was really interesting. They've also given some characters much more depth, which I actually really liked, because the bartender, Sasakura, I forgot his name, I'm really sorry, but he in the original didn't really have much of a personality. He was just this polite gentleman behind a bar who can make amazing cocktails. In this one, he has much more of a personality. You see him outside of the bar, you see him interacting much more with the other characters. It's great. I actually really like it because he has more depth and more interest. So yeah, if you saw the original and you were kind of holding off on watching the remake, you're like, well, I've already seen it, I'd actually say give it a try, just because, like I said, they really upgraded a lot and they gave it a much more like fulfilling storyline. So yeah, Bartender, God of Glass. This one is actually also on Crunchyroll, and it's great. I love it.